The Taproot Teacher Training is an annual retreat for homeschooling parents, a live in-person gathering that brings together heart-centered homeschoolers from all over the world for hands-on learning, community, connection, and fun. And I'd love to see you at Taproot 2024. We'll gather August 1st through 4th at a camp in northeastern Ohio for a long weekend of engaging workshops, hiking and yoga, and personal reflection. Taproot gives everyone a chance to experience and practice singing, painting, and building main lessons in order to foster a deeper understanding of the hands-on Waldorf-Inspired approach. A team of experienced homeschoolers offer guidance rooted in each of their family's life to help bring you more joy to yours. This is our 18th year of offering this amazing experience. You can learn more at artofhomeschooling.com/taproot2024. Springtime has arrived here in the Northern Hemisphere. I just love the changing seasons. And from the time my kids were little, I think of the change of seasons as a wonderful moment to refresh your nature table or seasonal tableau. So in this episode, we're talking all about how to set up a nature table at home. Even if you've never heard of a nature table, don't worry. I've got you covered with this episode. Or if you have one already, I bet you're going to learn a few new things. You'll hear everything you need to know about how to set up a nature table, where to put it, and some tips for including your children so you can bring this creative activity into your homeschooling. Nature tables can be so much fun. I still have one, even though my kiddos are all grown and off on their own. You can watch a short video of me setting up my spring nature table, complete with Mrs. Thaw, who sweeps away the snow, in the show notes for this episode, which are at artofhomeschooling.com/episode 175. What is a nature table? A nature table is a great way to bring the outdoors inside and to celebrate the seasons with our children and family. I first learned about nature tables in the world of Waldorf education, but I've learned that they are used in many different settings. They can be found in Waldorf, Montessori, and Reggio Emilia classrooms, as well as in homes, nature education centers, and they're even used by occupational therapists to help them develop fine motor skills and observational skills. So let's start with what exactly is a nature table. Here's a simple definition. A table on which items collected from nature, such as seeds, rocks, birds' nests, etc., are displayed in order to teach children about the natural world. A nature table is really quite a simple idea. It's just a little display that you create to represent the season, and they're a lovely addition to any home. I want to add that your nature table can be whatever you want it to be. It can be as simple or as elaborate as you choose. I find it fascinating that in the world of occupational therapy, a nature table is something in the OT's toolbox to help children play and explore nature with their senses of sight and touch. I love this quote from the website, The OT Toolbox. A nature table can be as simple as a picnic table loaded with pine cones, acorns, leaves, twigs, and pebbles. A nature table can be an invitation to play. And in addition, there are so many skills that can be developed with a nature table, from fine motor skills to executive functioning skills to empathy and more. Setting up a nature table is rewarding in and of itself as a beautiful tableau, a little scene from nature, but also watching it change throughout the year is a wonderful way to mark the passing of the seasons and call our children's attention to these changes and find greater connection to the natural world. Children love to collect beautiful nature things while outdoors, so why not create a place in your home for all of these things to be displayed? Here are some suggestions for how to set up your nature table. First, choose a location. You might set it up on a shelf, a small table, the top of a piano, the corner of a bigger table. For years, we had ours on top of the mantle so that our cats wouldn't steal anything from it. And if you have toddlers, you might set your nature table up on a small tray so that you can move it, so you can get it out when you're there to keep your eye on little ones and then put it away out of their reach when not. So lots of options for choosing a location. Next is choose a table covering. I like to find a small piece of fabric like silk or cotton to lay down as the foundation. Choose a fabric that represents the season where you are, like where you live, such as green for spring, yellow or pink for summer, orange for fall, blue for winter. Then gather and collect items to put on your table. You might go on a nature walk and collect the natural items that you would like to use for the display. For example, pine cones, sticks, leaves, feathers, bark, stones, flowers. Choosing items that are safe for children to touch and play with. Children love bringing home little treasures and putting them on the nature table. Then add homemade touches. Seasonal crafts are fun. They're a fun addition to the table, like you could make little acorn peg dolls or sew little figures out of felt for your table, perhaps a mouse in the fall, a bunny in the spring. There are a few wonderful books that can help with this that I suggest you check out. One is called The Nature Corner, and the other is called Felt Craft. I'll be sure to link to those in the show notes so you can have a look. Then set up your seasonal tableau. So start with that colored cloth and then set out your nature items and handmade items on the cloth. I like to have a seasonal postcard or a little painting of a scene from the season as well. You can use little pieces of wood or stones to set things on top of. And for that postcard, you could use a simple wooden postcard holder. It's just a piece of wood with a slit cut in it to hold the card or the paper or picture. And I'll be sure to link to one in the show notes so you can see what it looks like. And then add your own special touches. You might include a read aloud or picture book of the season on your display. You could also add a candle to your nature table. This is where we kept our candle that we lit at the beginning of lessons every day. Here are a few other tips to keep in mind when setting up your nature table. Things I've learned from experience. Beware of nature table clutter. It's really easy to just keep adding and adding to the display. But when you do, you lose the beauty, right? Because you stop noticing each individual item. So keep this in mind. There's value in simplicity. When you add an item, think of this as a great opportunity to take something away or put something away. Freshen up your seasonal tableau regularly as seasonal changes happen outdoors. Think of the colors that remind you of each season and bring the feeling of the season indoors through colorful fabrics or images. For handmade items, pictures, and fabrics, find a good way to store these things from year to year. I have 4 photo boxes that I got from our local craft store, and I've labeled them with each season. I'll link to the boxes I use in the show notes so you can see them. This is a better way than my original system, which was to just chuck everything in a drawer. And then it was a big mess, hard to find anything, and things got broken easily. When you're finished with any of the natural items you collected from nature, you can return those to where you found them. And then finally, keep a magnifying glass nearby. It's really fun for the exploration of patterns and even sometimes little surprises. Now for weaving your nature table into homeschooling. Here are some ideas. Spending time outdoors can inspire creativity and bring a sense of peace and tranquility, right, to daily life. And exploring, searching for things for our nature table can get us outside more. So, going on nature walks, gardening, or outdoor art projects are all wonderful additions to your daily homeschool rhythm. And think about how you might bring an artifact from any of those activities indoors for your table. In my family, we tried to get outside every day, even if it was just a short walk around the block or perhaps just to the end of the block and back to notice the light, the trees, the birds, any changes that are happening around us and collect little things to bring inside. You can add collecting little treasures to any of those outdoor activities. It's all about connecting with nature often. If you want to hear more about this, please go have a listen to episode 91 here on the podcast called How Can We Restore Connections Through Nature, which I'll link in the show notes. Nature tables can also be great invitations to play. You could read a seasonal story and then use the things on the nature table to retell the story, to act it out. From an educational perspective, nature tables are great for sensory play, nature study, imaginative dramatic play, and storytelling. Keep in mind that in the early grades, nature study teaches the skill of keen observation. This is a skill that's critical to the study of the sciences, the hard sciences, in the later years, such as physics and chemistry. I talked about this in a recent episode, number 172, Nature Study, the Foundation of Science, and I'll link that one in the show notes as well. As homeschooling parents, one of our main jobs is to give our children opportunities to experience awe and wonder. These emotions help children develop curiosity and build a knowledge of the world. In the recently published book, Awe, The New Science of Everyday Wonder and How It Can Transform Your Life, author Dacher Keltner reveals new science into how awe transforms our brains and bodies, how a sense of awe transforms who we are. Here's a great quote from the book about the importance of cultivating these feelings. Awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. Awe is the emotion we experience when we encounter vast mysteries that we don't understand. Oh, I just love that. Awe really does play a central role in us caring about and learning about the world. As homeschoolers, we carefully choose poems, stories, activities, songs, all the things that we bring to our children, coupled with our own interest, right, and enthusiasm about the world to awaken a sense of awe and wonder in our children. Nature tables are yet another way to bring awe and wonder and even a sense of reverence into our lives. I hope you've enjoyed this episode on how to set up a nature table at home as much as I have. Check out the show notes for links to everything I've mentioned, and you can find show notes at artofhomeschooling.com/episode 175. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm off to cut some freshly blooming daffodils to put on my nature table.